I was reading through the stack of notes for today, and I have to be honest, if you pitch this story to a Hollywood studio right now, they'd probably tell you it's too much. Just too chaotic.
It is a bit intense, isn't it?
Intense. It's a soap opera on like a cosmic scale. You've got this high-stakes family feud that starts literally inside the womb.
Wow.
Then you have a guy conning his brother out of a fortune for a bowl of soup, some identity theft involving goat skins, and then, just when you think it can't get any weirder, the main character gets into a literal wrestling match with God.
Well, when you lay it all out like that, it does sound pretty absurd.
Mm-hmm.
But you've just perfectly described the life of Jacob.
Right.
So while it sounds like a thriller, this is actually one of the most foundational narratives you'll find in the text.
Okay, so this is Jacob, grandson of Abraham. But looking at these sources, we're mainly in Genesis, right? Chapters 25 through 33.
That's the core of it, yeah. With some context from Hosea, Luke, and others.
Right. And looking at Genesis, he doesn't exactly come across as a saint. He seems more like a hustler.
That's a very accurate reading. Jacob he's a complicated figure.
Mm-hmm.
He is not your typical polished hero who always does the right thing.
Not at all.
He's deeply flawed, incredibly calculated, and honestly, he's driven by a whole lot of fear.
So what's the mission today? Why are we digging into this guy's rap sheet?
We want to look at the arc of his transformation. We're going to track Jacob from his early days as a deceiver. You know, a guy literally running from his past to the moment he gets a completely new identity.
Okay.
We want to understand the mechanics of how that change actually happens. How does a man go from scamming his own family to, well, wrestling for a blessing?
All right, so let's go back to the very beginning. And I mean the very beginning, the birth. Because this rivalry, it didn't start over money or land.
No, Genesis 25 tells us it started before they were even born. They were struggling inside the womb. But when they were finally born, the description of the twins is very distinct.
Yeah, I saw that. The first one out is Esau. And the text says he was red all over like a hairy garment, which, I'm sorry, is a rough start for a newborn.
It is. It immediately paints this picture of someone visceral, earthy. Esau is the man of the field. He's a hunter. He's rugged.
And then comes Jacob. And he's doing something weird right out of the gate.
He's holding onto Esau's heel.
Like actually gripping it.
Gripping it, yeah. Is he trying to pull him back?
Yeah.
Trying to get ahead? The text doesn't say, but that single action defines his entire early life. It's why they named him Jacob.
And names mean something here, don't they? It's not just, oh, that sounds nice.
No, a name was your destiny. JACOB.JACOB. It's related to the word for heel. It implies a supplanter, a heel catcher.
Trickster.
Precisely. And the text draws this sharp contrast between them. Esau is out hunting. Jacob is described as a plain man dwelling in tents. So you have the rugged outdoorsman and the quiet strategist just sitting at home.
Waiting for his moment. Which brings us to the soup incident. The red pottage. I have to stop here because this part has always baffled me. Esau comes in from the field, he's hungry, and he trades his entire birthright for a bowl of stew.
It sounds ridiculous to our modern ears, doesn't it?
It sounds insane. I mean, was the stew that good? Or was Esau just not very bright?
Well, we have to understand what a birthright actually was to get the magnitude of this. In that culture, the birthright, the Bakora, meant two massive things. First, a double portion of the inheritance.
So a fortune.
A literal fortune, yes. But secondly, and maybe even more importantly, it meant you became the head of the family, the priest of the clan. You were the one to carry the covenant of Abraham.
And Esau just walks in and says, I'm starving, give me some of that red stuff.
He says, I am at the point to die. Yeah, was he actually dying? Almost certainly not. He was probably just exhausted and his blood sugar was low. But he was completely ruled by his immediate physical appetite. He says, what profit shall this birthright do to me?
He's thinking about the next 5 minutes, not the next 50 years.
Exactly. And Jacob, the strategist, he sees his opening. He doesn't say, here, brother, have some food. He says, sell me your birthright today.
That is just so cold. His brother is about to pass out and he pulls out a contract.
It is absolutely ruthless. But Esau agrees. He swears an oath, eats the bread and lentil stew, drinks, and leaves. And the text gives this brutal summary. Thus Esau despised his birthright. He treated something sacred as if it was worthless.
So Jacob gets the legal right to the inheritance. But that wasn't enough, was it? Because later in Genesis 27, he goes for the blessing too.
Right, the blessing is different. It's the prophetic word from the father Isaac that imparts dominion, fertility, power. And Isaac is old, he's blind, and he thinks he's about to die. He calls Esau in to give him this final blessing.
But Rebekah, their mom, overhears it, and she and Jacob cook up this whole scheme. I mean, this is the part that feels like a bad sitcom plot.
It's an incredibly elaborate deception. Jacob is smooth-skinned, Esau is, well, hairy, so what do?
They put goat skins on his hands and his neck.
The skins of young goats to mimic the feel of Esau's arms.
Wow, that is some serious commitment to the con.
It is, and it works. Isaac is suspicious. He says, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hand of Esau. But his senses fail him. He smells the field on the clothes, he feels the hair, and he gives a blessing to Jacob. He makes him master over his brother.
And when Esau comes back and finds out, I mean, I can't even imagine that scene.
It's heartbreaking. Esau lets out a great and exceeding bitter cry. He gets it. He says, is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times.
He even asks his dad, don't you have anything left for me, not one blessing?
And Isaac really doesn't. In that worldview, once a blessing is spoken, it's out there. You can't take it back. So instead, he gives Esau this very dark anti-blessing. He says, by your sword you shall live and you shall serve your brother.
Ouch.
But he adds this one little sliver of hope. He says that eventually when Esau has dominion, he will break his brother's yoke from off his neck.
Right, but for now, Esau just wants revenge. The text says he said in his heart that as soon as their father dies, I will kill my brother Jacob.
And this is a credible threat. Esau is a hunter. He knows how to kill. And Jacob knows this isn't just sibling rivalry anymore. This is a death sentence.
So Jacob runs.
He flees. He becomes a refugee, runs hundreds of miles to his uncle Laban's house. And he stays there for 20 years.
20 years is a long time to be in hiding. But eventually, God tells him it's time to go home.
Which brings us to Genesis 32, the crisis of return.
Yeah, this feels like the part of the movie where the music shifts. He's rich now, he has a huge family, but he has to walk right back toward the one person who swore to kill him.
And that past has not been forgotten. Jacob sends messengers ahead, to test the waters. And the report they bring back is basically his worst nightmare.
They say Esau is coming to meet you, which sounds okay at first, until they add, and he has 400 men with him.
You don't bring 400 men to a family reunion?
No.
That is a war party. That is a small army.
Should Jacob panics?
The text says he was greatly afraid and distressed. But watch what he does. The old Jacob, the schemer that nature kicks in first, he divides his entire camp, his family, his flocks, into 2 bands.
Right.
He's thinking, if Esau attacked the first group, maybe I can get away with the second.
He's calculating his losses. I can lose half my family and still survive. That is, it's practical, but so grim.
It's a desperate strategy. But then he does something else. He stops scheming for a moment and he starts to pray. And it's maybe the most honest prayer he's ever prayed in his life.
He says, deliver me, I pray you, from the hand of my brother.
And he actually admits his fear. He says, for I fear him lest he will come and kill me and the mother with the children. There's no bargaining, no tricks. It's just, I'm terrified and I need your help.
But the real turning point isn't even the prayer. It's what happens later that night, the wrestling match.
Yes. Jacob sends his entire family across the river Jabbok. He strips away everything, his wealth, his wives, his children. And Genesis 32.24 just says, and Jacob was left alone.
Alone in the dark.
And then, out of nowhere, he's attacked. The text says, there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day.
Okay, I have to pause here. A man. Just some random guy. Or are we talking about an angel? Or God himself?
Right.
Because this sounds bizarre.
It is incredibly mysterious. The text here calls him a man, but later, in Hosea 12, the text refers to him as the angel and even God. Most theologians see this as a theophany, a physical manifestation of God.
Okay.
But notice how physical it is. This is not a vision. This is not a dream. They're rolling around in the dirt. There's dust, sweat, grunting.
And it lasts all night. I mean, have you ever tried to wrestle someone for even 5 minutes? It's completely exhausting.
It's incredibly depleting. But Jacob just holds on. He fights for hours. At first, he probably thinks this is an assassin sent by Esau. But at some point in the struggle, he realizes he is grappling with something divine.
And the angel realizes he can't just overpower Jacob, so he touches his hip.
He touches the socket of Jacob's hip, and it's instantly dislocated.
So now he's crippled. He's in agony. He can't really wrestle anymore.
He can't fight, so he does the only thing he has left. He clings. He just hangs on. And Hosea adds this beautiful detail. It says, Jacob wept and made supplication. He's literally crying and holding on for dear life.
The sun is coming up. The man says, let me go. And Jacob says, this is my favorite line in the whole story. I will not let you go until you bless me.
I mean,
think about the audacity of that. He's crippled, he's exhausted, he's weeping, but his will is just unbreakable. He finally understands that his schemes can't save him from Esau. His money can't save him. He needs a real blessing from the source.
And the man doesn't just give him the blessing. He asks him a question first. What is your name?
And, God obviously knows his name.
Right. It feels like a test, a setup.
It is. He is forcing Jacob to confess. For his whole life, Jacob has been pretending to be someone else. He pretended to be Esau. He's lived as the supplanter. By asking, what is your name? God is asking, who are you, really?
And he finally says it. Jacob, I am Jacob. I am the deceiver. I am the heel catcher. And the moment he confesses the truth of who he is, God changes it. He says, your name shall no more be called Jacob, but Israel.
Israel. What does that name actually mean?
It means God fights, or one who struggles with God. The text explains it right there. For as a prince you have wrestled with God and with men, and have prevailed.
Wow. That's a massive shift. He goes from being the guy who trips people up to the guy who struggles with God and, well, survives.
It's a fundamental change, a change of his very nature. This is where those New Testament sources we looked at really come alive. You hear the same idea in 2 Corinthians 5:17. If any man be in Jesus Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away.
So it's not just a new nickname, it's like he got a whole new operating system installed.
Exactly. Or like in Revelation 2, which promises a new name written for those who overcome. God doesn't just patch up Jacob's bad behavior. He gives him a new identity. He's no longer defined by his past, but by his encounter with God.
But he still walks with a limp.
He does. He names the place Peniel. I have seen God face to face. But he walks away from it limping for the rest of his life. He is humbled, weaker in his body, but stronger in his spirit than he has ever been.
So here comes the test. The sun is up. He looks, and there is Esau with the 400 men.
A moment of truth.
The old Jacob would have run or tried to bribe his way out of it. What does this new man, Israel, do?
He limps out in front of his family. He bows down to the ground 7 times, showing complete humility. He's not acting like the master anymore. He's acting like a servant.
And Esau, based on everything you know, Esau should just run him through with a sword.
But look at Genesis 33:4. And Esau ran to meet him.
He ran?
He ran, he embraced him, he fell on his neck and kissed him.
Yeah.
And they wept.
That is not what I was expecting.
It's a miracle. Remember that old prophecy from Isaac, that Esau would eventually break the yoke? He didn't break it by killing Jacob. He broke that cycle of bitterness through forgiveness. The moment Jacob got right with God, when he stopped fighting against people and started clinging to God, the relationship with his brother was healed.
It's like the wrestling match in the dark somehow fixed the war that was about to happen in the daylight.
That is the core truth of the whole story. When our vertical relationship with God is transformed from independence to dependence, it changes our horizontal relationships with people. Jacob didn't need a better strategy to handle Esau. He needed a new heart.
That is a lot to process. We've gone from womb fighting to soup trading to midnight wrestling and finally to this reunion.
It is a wild journey.
So if we have to boil this down for someone listening who feels a bit like Jacob, maybe they've made a mess of things, they're running from something, what's the one big takeaway?
I think the takeaway is that your past, your sin, your guilt, none of it disqualifies you from a future with God. Jacob was a mess, a liar, a schemer. But the one thing he finally got right was that he wouldn't let go of God.
I will not let you go until you bless me.
That persistence is everything. It's what Luke 18 means by, men ought always to pray and not to faint. And as Ecclesiastes puts it, the whole thing comes down to this: fear God. Jacob finally learned to fear God more than he feared Esau.
And that fear of God actually set him free from the fear of man.
Precisely.
That's a powerful place to land. But before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a final question. And it's kind of a heavy one.
Go for it.
We all have a Jacob identity. We all have things we've done, labels people have put on us, or mistakes we're trying to hide. If you were left alone tonight, no phone, no distractions, just you in the dark, and you had to wrestle for a blessing, what is the new name you are actually fighting for? Who is the Israel version of you that's waiting to emerge?
That is the question that changes everything.
Thanks for diving deep with us.